Have you ever got absolutely destroyed in a chess match and started punching the air? Well, in this video, I will show you 8 tips on how you can dominate your opponents and make them cry themselves to sleep. So let's begin. Tip 1. Chill out. Yes, you didn't mishear me. What I mean is, have you ever gotten really tilted after losing 2 games in a row, and to equalize, you decide to boot up another chess game, and not surprisingly, you get absolutely cooked and fried? Well, why did you get cooked and fried, you may ask? It was because you were in a state of anger playing the games, which resulted in a massive decrease in performance, which led to your loss. Now, this is a dangerous cycle, as one loss feeds the motivation to keep playing, and after you lose that one, you get even more angry, which feeds even more losses. The point is, you need to chill out. Being in a state of anger the performance, so if you are ever angry before a chess game, maybe go outside for a walk instead and come back to play chess. Tip 2. Have the same time as your opponent. This means to have the same as your opponent. Basically, you don't want to be in a situation where you played a perfect game of chess and then you realize you have 1 minute on the clock while your opponent has 5 minutes, and then you start blundering everything you have. This is not an ideal way of play. Ideally, in 10-minute games, you don't want to be a minute down, and in 5-minute blitz, you don't want to be more than 30 seconds down. You also don't want to play too fast, since that will lead to you blundering all your pieces. The point is that you have to match your opponent's pace. If they play fast, you have no choice but to also speed up. And if they play slow as fuck, you can gain a time advantage by playing a bit faster. Tip 2.5. Think in your opponent's time. This simply means to think when your opponent is also thinking. But most often than not, you are not really calculating anything, and instead, you are thinking about what you're going to eat during dinner, or scrolling on your phone, or checking out a strange tab. You're doing everything but actually calculating, and then you complain about losing.
I've lost 6 games in a row now.
So instead, make sure to actually calculate future moves, plans, tactical ideas, and positional play. Tip 3. Have an opening repertoire. An opening repertoire is a set of openings you play consistently and that you have good knowledge about them. A good opening usually has a simple and straightforward middle game plan, develops pieces in the opening, fights for the center, castles the king, and easy to learn. So with this logic, you can immediately see that the Scholar's Mate is not a good opening, while something like the Italian game is a good choice. So now on to the openings. For white, I recommend the Queen's Gambit opening, which starts after d4, d5, and then you play cf4, sacrificing the pawn. The point is, if they take, you gain a huge center advantage and are also ready to capture the pawn back. If they decline, you do not take. Instead, you play standard development and delay the development of this bishop. For black, I recommend the Caro-Kann defense. It starts with e4, then c6, which, after d4, you go d5. If they take, you simply take back and play normal chess, but if they push the pawn, you push the c-pawn. Now, if they take, you simply target these pawns with the knight. Now, against d4, you want to play the King's Indian defense, which starts with knight f6 and then g6. If white has pushed the e-pawn, then make sure to play d6 to prevent the pawn from advancing. And then you castle and develop the other knight and bishop. Here is the full opening repertoire for white and black, and make sure to actually research these opening lines in more detail after this video. And while you're here, please like and subscribe, since it really helps me out a ton. Okay, back to the video. Tip 4. Stay hydrated. Just a reminder to get that water in. I see you dehydrated right now, so come on, drink. Tip 5. Some middle game tips. Here are some random middle game tips that will crush your opponents and make Tip 5.1. Follow CCA. So what does CCA mean? Well, if you have been living under a rock, this is simply a thinking process created by Gotham Chess, where you look for checks, captures, and attacks. This process aims to find the most forcing moves and makes it easier to find tactical patterns. For example, here, you might not think anything is going on, but if you follow CCA, you would find this check that leads to a fork. Tip 5.2. Develop the least active piece. This is exactly how the name sounds like. If you can't find any good checks, captures, or attacks, you can find your worst piece and then develop it to a better square where it performs better. Tip 6. Some endgame tips. Here are some tips that will be used when there are minimal pieces on the board. Tip 6.1. Activate the king. Put it simply, an active king controls a lot more crucial squares than a king in the corner, which is the reason it is better. Tip 6.2. Push past pawns. First of all, a passed pawn is a pawn without any opposing pawns, which means if there are no pieces, it can simply promote. There are many endgames where the players just don't push the passed pawn at all and push the wrong ones. Tip 6.3. Create passed pawns. Okay, we learned that passed pawns are overpowered as f***. Yet how do we create it? Well, first you have to have a pawn majority where you've got more pawns on one side. Then you trade and boom, a passed pawn. By the way, make sure to do extra research since this was a very brief summary of complex topics. Tip 7. Stop being passive. This is probably the most useful tip of the video, so you would be stupid not to listen up. So what I mean is that most players just simply don't challenge their opponents and play passively on their side. Now this is fine if you are not blundering your pieces, but to really put some pressure on your opponents, you have to play moves that go into your opponent's territory. This will give you extra space and activity, which will really put some stress on your opponent, making him likely to blunder. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe since it really helps me create more content for you guys. And comment down below what you want to see next. Anyways, thanks for watching.